What is up, Wholesale to Million family? Happy Wednesday. We're back with another subscriber first wholesale deal interview. And today I got Tony from Canada, Wholesaling in Canada. I know a lot of you have been asking me, hey, Khang, can I do it in Canada? Can I do it in Canada? Well, you better listen up because he's going to drop the bombs of how he got his first wholesale deal done. And it was for $7,000. You guys, if this video add any value to you, please show myself and my guests some love. Boom, smash that thumbs up. Really help out with the YouTube algorithm. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the Wholesale to Million family. Be sure to boom, smash that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notification so when I upload a new video or when I go live, which I do every single Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard for a live cold call role play. And I'm starting to do a Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Q&A as well. So, anyways, no further ado, help me welcome my man, Tony from Canada. What's going on, brother?
Oh, not too much, man. Just excited for this interview.
Dude, hey, Tony, I want to say thank you so much, man, for taking your time to jump on to do this with me. I truly appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man. I appreciate you guys reaching out, and I'm glad to be here.
Hey, Tony, so how's my lighting? Is the lighting
good? Yep, it's good.
Okay, good, bro. So Tony, let's go ahead and jump in, man. Share a little bit about yourself, and before you get into your first wholesale deal.
Yeah, so I'm 23 years old. Prior to wholesaling, I did construction for 3.5 years. So it's quite the change going from the physical work to the sales game, and just came to realization one day like this is going to be hard to do forever, So I basically said, how am I going to start looking for ideas to get out of the rat race per se, with minimum money. So I started reading some books and I found out about wholesaling and I started watching you from the start, man. And honestly,
appreciate the love, brother.
Yeah. And it basically took me a while to just get my talking to the seller down. And now I have my pitch good and things are pretty good. So, yeah, I also lived with my mom, my two younger brothers and my younger sister. So I was like, oh man, like I just felt like I gotta start making some money for everybody, right?
Yep.
So I got my first wholesale deal, made some money on my own there. I actually did 2 referral fees up to my wholesale because one person fell through a deal because of COVID, but I was able to still list the property with them with a realtor and I still got a fee that way. So it still gave me a little bit of motivation to just keep on going until you get your own deal. And then, I closed the first deal and I actually closed another deal last week and I got a third one closing in December. So
nice one, man. So how much is the last one for last week? How much have you made?
10,000.
10G, baby.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Dude, hey, man, I gotta say this, man, dude, I respect you, dude, for basically standing up, dude, for like taking control and say, hey, you know what? I got a mom, I got a sister here. I got to step up my game. Cause dude, there's some 23-year-old dude that's right now laying on their parents' couch and playing video game and just sucking, right? Just asking for that free handouts, dude. So I respect that, dude. You step up the plate, you take control and you're like, hey, dude, I got to take care of this family. Good for you, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
So Tony, let's talk about your first wholesale deal, dude. So how do you found the seller and all of that?
Okay, so for a while I was doing direct mail and it was pretty good. And I kind of just I know people have their mail set out like a kind of nice letter. Mine just says, my name's Tony Gula and I would like to buy your property. And the amount of people that call is pretty good, but you have to take in consideration a lot of people are just calling and saying, who is this guy? But it's still good to get your name out there. And that's how I got my first 2 referral fees. But the first actual wholesale, the guy called me, he was a realtor and we met in person. And I said, how did you get my number? Like, how did we even connect, man? And he said, I don't even know. I just have your number saved in my phone. So I thought to myself, maybe because I was just calling to realtors and saying like, hey man, like I was just letting my name out. And he just needed his property sold. He didn't have the time to sell it. So he said, you know what, Tony, like if you got buyers and you can sell it, man, whatever. And it went like that. And it took me almost a month to sell, Khang, because it was in a pretty bad area And every time I showed up, something happened. Like, for example, the one time I was getting an inspection with the buyers there, and I went to go get the thermostat key for, to get the furnace cranking.
Yeah.
And I come back and there's all these people on the street like just looking at each other. I'm like, oh, what's going on? And there's these two dogs fighting on the front lawn of the house I'm trying to wholesale, and everyone's like yelling at each other. I said, oh, no way. And I came through the back door, and the buyers are just watching this go down, and they shortly left after, and I never heard from them again. And there was a lot of stuff that happened there, man. But eventually I sold it to some guys who owned a house down the street, so they know the area fairly well and how to deal with everything. So it turned out good, and yeah, the seller's happy, the buyer's happy. They actually got a vendor take back on the property, so they got to hold the seller held some of the mortgage for them. And then yeah, I'm happy too. So because it closed.
Nice, bro. Nice, dude. Congrats. Now, for those that don't know, Tony did mention to me at the beginning, it took you a year to do your first deal.
Yeah.
So for those of you out there, you're pushing your 6 month in, your 7 month in, listen, it took me 6 months. It took Tony a year. I've done an interview with somebody that took him a year and a half to even 2 years, but it's persistent and it's just committed. Because if you can make 7 G's, you can make 700 G's, because all it is just repeating the process, right? And just taking what you got and just reinvest it back into your business, and not buying stupid shit. Most people, right, get their first deal, get all excited, man, and go buy that Louis Vuitton, the Gucci. Come on, man.
Oh, come on.
Reinvest it back into your business, and I promise you, once your business starting to generate some money, man, some good money coming in every single month, you can have all those stuff. It's just you got to delay that instant gratification, okay?
For sure.
So I want those to understand. I'm putting out content, and people say, "Hey, Carl, so what do you do with your money? Like, you don't buy nice things?" I'm a car guy, right?
Right.
So some of you might be shoes, right? But a lot of you are spending your money when you don't have it. That's all. So, Tony, let's get into this, man. Obviously, you just make cold call to realtors. You made so many calls, and that's what I did when I first started out to, bro. I was just pounding on the phone and just putting my name out there and just building relationship.
Right.
So I know some people ask me, "Hey, Khang, does it really take no money to get into wholesaling?" The answer is yes. Yep. But dude, it's going to take a massive amount of work when you have no money, because when you have no money, you can't leverage it to market and get people call you. Instead, you got to sit there and you got to pound the phone and you got to do all the freeway, which a lot of your competitions is also doing. Right. But you got to be the one that's going to work harder and work smarter than they are. So now, Tony, so you got the realtor. So this realtor, did you lock it up in a contract with him, or how does the deal work out with him, man?
Okay, so I locked it up under contract with him. I don't know how it works with the contracts exactly in America, but here in Canada, how it works essentially is I tell the person that I'm gonna buy the property, but I need approval from my partner who's gonna fund the property. They're too busy, whatever.
Sure.
So I'm gonna make you a conditional offer. Give me 10 business days to get my partner on board, and then we're gonna buy the property, and they're basically gonna fund it and take over. And then once you have that, the seller, he agreed. He said, okay, but me and him built a little bit more of a relationship, and I just told him like I'm just gonna sell it to another person, like put my fee on top, whatever. And he was okay with that. It all depends on the deal. Usually once you get it contract, they don't care at that point. But
so hold on a second, Tony. So when you talk to this realtor, you did tell him, "Hey, I'm going to find someone else that's going to buy the property, but I need to lock this property under contract with you." So he basically know that you're not going to buy it. He's basically know that you're going to wholesale the deal.
Yeah. So right away, I told him that. So he knew that I was going to buy it with my partner, and my partner take over because they don't have time to find the deal. So I'm just out here finding the deal, because most of my partners and buyers are from a little bit from the GTA area, Toronto and stuff. So, I just say they don't got the time to come down here. So if the deal all makes sense, I just have to get it under contract so I can show it to them that this is a serious deal. And then once they approve it, we can firm up the deal and firm up our offer and, close whenever the date is.
Gotcha. Okay. So those of you who's watching, I want you guys to understand this. So Tony didn't tell him, hey, I'm going to wholesale the deal. He basically say what we say, what anyone else should say. All right.
Exactly.
You don't tell them you're a wholesaler. You say exactly what Tony just mentioned is, hey, I have a partners, you're right. I have a partners that I'm going to bring in to on me to buy this deal. So I need the time frame to show it to my partner, etc. So now you mentioned as you go along, you build more relationship with the realtor, and then he end up knowing that you are wholesaling it, or he never know that you're wholesaling it.
Yeah, he knew that I was wholesaling it.
Okay.
Because there was so I had my partner come through, and like I said, this house I maybe had 100 inquiries, 30 people come through it, 5 offers, and 1 person buy it. So, and halfway through, I just told him, like, look, man, like, I'm gonna push hard to just find you a buyer. My first original, because I have like a small group of actual partners who, like,
Yep.
I could sell deals to right away.
Correct.
But not this deal. So I said, you know what, man, like, I have over 200 buyers now. Just let me message them all and market this deal for you, because I know you don't have time. So let me just do this, like, let's just still make this smooth and easy. So I'm going to need another 5-day extension. And he just said, okay, no problem. And I explained to him, like, I'm going to put this much on top, like, whatever. We got to that point. So.
Oh, wow. So you even told him how much you're going to market the property out for.
Yeah, because they're going to see it on the paperwork anyway. So.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, Tony, you built a solid relationship with your seller to the point where, to the point where, on the call, like, it's okay for me to mention it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see.
Exactly.
Okay. Got you, bro. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about how did you found your buyer?
Okay. So when I first started just going knocking on doors and dropping off mail and stuff by hand, people on Instagram just messaged me and said, well, one guy in particular messaged me and he said, look, like, if as long as your property fits our criteria, we'll buy every single one. And they've given me offers on every one, and they bought 2. So I mean, they kept their word. And other than that, just posting on Instagram, social media, once I post my deals, I post them on Facebook groups and all that. People just leave their email. So I'll send them a message and say, hey, how's it going? Like, what's your ideal property? Just build a little relationship quick, and then add them to the buyers list. And also before COVID, I would go to realtor meetups and stuff, like the real estate investor meetups. So.
Gotcha, man. So for those of you who don't know, it's I just want to make sure, Tony. I mean, in the US, it's meetup.com. Is it the same in Canada?
So we have so there's meetups.com, I'm pretty sure. And then there's a lot of like Facebook groups that have, so there's like a Niagara group, Hamilton, GTA, everyone has their groups, and a lot of them are the same people. So you just keep inviting people and they just get bigger. And a lot of Facebook groups. There's even groups for joint venture deals. So if you find a deal, you can post it on there and you can potentially partner. So
gotcha, man. So so basically the concept in Canada and US is the exact same thing.
Right.
Now, Tony, do you guys use title company or attorney?
So we use just the lawyers.
Okay, so there's no title company, but it's attorney.
Yeah.
Okay, got you, bro. Okay, so once you lock it up, so you found your buyers.
Yeah.
Your buyer did the walkthrough on the property.
Yep.
Now let's talk about the property. What's the ARV on it?
Okay, so the one that I got, the ARV is around 500,000.
Wow. Okay.
Around.
And what was the rehab?
So it only needed, so what it was a fourplex that was turned into a plex, and they turned it back into a fourplex. So they only made 1 unit. I think they put maybe 25,000-30,000 into it, maybe even less. I got the buyers, the guys who bought it, follow up with them. Yeah.
So rehab was 25,000?
Yeah, around there.
Okay, so 25,000. And now how much did you lock it up in a contract with the seller for?
373 or 370.
Okay, so 373. and then you
Yeah.
sent it out for 7,000 more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. And how long did it took you to find the buyer?
4 weeks on this one because it was tough because of the area.
Now, how long did you lock it up on the contract with the seller for?
I asked for 10 days, 10 business days, sometimes 15, but I asked for, I think, 2 extensions on this one.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, as far as in the closing date, Tony, did you mention the closing date to the seller, or the seller mention it to you?
Yeah, so I just tell them we can close on a date convenient to you, what works, 30 days, 60 days, and they basically just tell me. And then I think he wanted shorter, but I usually tell the buyer too, like, what can you close on? And then I'll go back to the seller and just say, look, like, my partner can't close on this date. We have to close a little later, or if we can, it's just no big deal. We can.
Right. The thing is, my question to you, Tony, is that I don't know why you give yourself only 10 days to find the buyers. Is that something that the seller wants, or is that something that you propose to the seller?
It's what the seller wants, because like I said, at first, I don't tell them that I'm wholesaling the deal. I'm just making a offer.
Sure.
And people don't want to give you more than 15 days due diligence, because I try to put minimal deposit, right? $100, $500. And they're all the because it's pretty aggressive here, because all the people from Toronto are buying, like, no conditions, 10,000.
Right.
So I got to compete with that. And everyone just tells me, oh, well, people are selling this fast, and I got to tie it up with you for 2 weeks when I could list it. And, sometimes we get into a little back and forth on that. So.
Gotcha. Okay. So the thing here is that you're dealing with a seller that's a realtor, so he has experience, so he knows about earnest money, he knows about inspection period, he knows about all of that.
Yeah.
But to me, in my experience, when you deal directly with the seller, they don't ask you for earnest money, right? They don't ask you about the earnest money. They don't ask you about the closing date.
Right.
So typically I lock it up, man. I lock it up for, like, at least, if I can, I like to lock it up for 60 days.
Okay.
And I have 60 days to find my buyers. So,
man,
yeah, so I don't give myself 10 days. I don't give myself 15 days, because I don't mention it to the seller, because the seller never asked and the seller never brought it up.
Right.
Right. So unless you're the one who's proposing it and saying, hey, we can close in, the date of your choice, whether it's 30, 60, whatever it is. And if you can give me, that's what most people have a problem, is that they give information when it's not needed or when it's not being asked. And they say, well, and then give me a 15 days to do my inspection.
Okay.
And I think a lot of time people are worried and afraid, and then they say it is because they want to make sure that they can back out the deal. That's right.
Right.
And that's why they say that, because when I first started man, that's what I would say to the seller, when the seller doesn't even ask, because I was afraid that I'm going to commit and have to move forward to buy the property. So I want the seller to know that, hey, you give me a 10-day inspection or a 15 days inspection, but now I don't, unless they ask me. But what I do is I keep my seller on a weekly progress. So I'll tell them, hey, you know what? Okay, it's been a week. We got someone to take the pictures or whatever it is, right? If the property's vacant, or hey, you know what? We're still working on, trying to analyze our numbers. We're trying to talk to some contractors so we can line up some time frames so they can go out and look at the property, right? So I keep them on a weekly. I just don't go silent. And I made that mistake where on when I first started, I just went silent. So for like 2-3 weeks, I haven't found my buyers, but I just went silent because I figured, hey, if something comes up, then I'll tell the seller. But it got the seller worries, and they were raising concern, and they were calling and they were like, hey, are you guys gonna buy the deal, or what's going on here, right? So make sure you keep your seller on a weekly updates, whether you found a buyer or you haven't found a buyer yet. You got to make sure that you stay in connection with them. Communication is key.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so now how much was the deposit with the buyer, Tony?
$500.
$500 deposit?
Yeah.
On a 300 and on a almost $400,000 purchase?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I explained to them that I explained to them that I'm just finding the deal, and once my partner's on board, they're gonna put a bigger deposit.
No. My question to you is, how much did the buyer put down?
Oh, the buyer. Oh,
Yes.
for that one, $1,000, because it was $1,000 down, and then they vendor take back 100,000, I think.
Oh, wait. So this is an owner contract deal?
Yeah. So they ended up doing the seller ended up holding the mortgage for the buyer. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So this ended up to be an owner contract, not a straight out cash deal.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Now, so how much was the earnest money between you and the seller?
That was $500.
Okay, so that was $500. Did you mention that, or is that something the seller mentioned?
Yeah. So over here, they always ask me for $5,000 or $10,000.
Yep.
So, but I just tell them, like, I'm just getting the deal under contract, and then once my buyer or my partner on board, they can usually give more, and then we just go from there.
Right. But my question to you is, on your deal, like, okay, so on this deal, I understand this deal is a realtor. Now, on your last deal, did you deal directly with the seller, or is it a realtor?
Directly with the seller.
Okay, and how much earnest money did you put down?
That one, $100.
Okay, you see, because Tony, the reason I'm bringing this up is I want those people that are watching this to understand that, hey, well, Khang, I don't have $500, dude.
Yeah.
I put down $10 when I first started, dude. $5. I've talked to people that put down $1. Okay, so when you deal directly with the seller, the earnest money, like, they never mention it. So you can put down, you can put whatever you want on that contract.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so gotcha. Okay, so the last one you did was $500. Okay, and now why did the buyer? So this is a pretty big purchase, Tony. Why did the buyer only put down 1,000? Is that something you mentioned, or is that something that the buyer mentioned?
That's something the buyer mentioned, and we just worked it out with the seller.
Right. So now, okay. Now my question to you, and what I'm trying to point out here, you guys, is when you come to not just working with seller, but when you're in business, negotiation and position yourself is extremely important. This is the real world. And that's why you learn through, like, when I first started, man, I wouldn't say taking advantage of, but I didn't know how to negotiate. I have to learn through all the trial and error. So I'm going to share with you guys, so that way when you come across, you got to position yourself where you're not under leveraging, right? But you got to make sure that you're going to be strong, because if the buyer backs out, dude, they lose $1,000. You give $500. You give 500 to the seller, and you only get to keep $500 for all the time that you have spent. No, bro. So Tony, here's my question back to you.
Yeah.
Is once you found that buyer, I don't know if you still remember, once you found the buyer, who mentioned the deposit amount of money?
It's always the seller.
No. I mean, when you found the buyer, dude, who's the one that mentioned the deposit?
Yeah, so the buyer mentioned it to me.
So they said, okay, I'm gonna put 1,000 down.
Yeah.
And then what do you say after that?
Say, okay, let me report it to the seller and see what
No,
he said.
okay, got you, bro. So Tony, in the future, I don't know, in the future, here's what you need to do, bro.
Okay.
Is that with the seller, you're gonna leverage your partner as your third party to negotiate. When you deal with the buyer, you're gonna leverage the seller, or you're gonna leverage your other partners. So remember, those of you who's watching this, I don't care who you're gonna negotiate and talk with, but don't be the one that, don't let them know that you are the only one on the team and that you are a decision maker, because they're going to negotiate directly with you. Instead, you want to leverage. So when I talk to a buyer, I said, I use the seller or my partners, my other partner, as leverage. Like, I have no control on this deal. I'm trying to make this deal work with you. Okay. But I also got to make sure that I can get that approved with my partner or with the seller. So if I were you in the future, Tony, I don't know if you start doing it already, but
Yep.
I'm just sharing with the people that are listening how important it is to make sure that you position yourself properly to get the most deposit from the buyer as possible. You got to make sure that the more skin they have the more skin they have in the game, dude, the better off it will be.
Yeah.
Dude, my minimum deposit, dude, is 5G.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Most of my buy drop 10, 20K, dude. 10,
Yeah.
20K. And it's not me, the one who mentioned it.
Right.
Okay. So I go to my buyer. I said, listen, we got a lot. I don't care if you have a hot deal or you don't have a hot deal.
Right.
I don't care if your deal have no buyers or one buyer.
Okay.
Every single buyer that asks you, hey, do you have other offer on this deal? Yes, I do. You know what? We actually have some other offer. They're talking to their partner. They're working out with their finance. I don't care if you have 0 people.
Right.
But you got to make sure that you come in, letting them know this is the hot potato. You want it? You want it? You better show me that you want it. Otherwise, if they know that you got no people, dude, guess what? They are going to try to, not take advantage. I don't know a better word because my vocab is very limited.
No, I get what you're saying though, Khang, for sure. No, I totally understand.
Yeah. So what I do, dude, what I do in this situation, I was like, oh, $1,000. Well, I don't know if that's going to work. I mean, this is a $400,000 purchase. Let me go back to the seller and let me talk to the seller and I'll get back to you. And then you can go and then text him back or call him back in 5 minutes and say, oh, 1,000 is not going to work. I mean, the seller's, he's wanting, if you're going to move forward and lock this in with him, he wants more of a commitment. So can you do 5,000?
Okay. I see.
And then eventually you guys are going to negotiate back and forth and then you're going to arrive somewhere, but always be the one that makes sure that you get them to get more skin in the game. Okay.
For sure.
All right. Well, so Tony, let me see. Okay. I guess it's time for us to wrap this up.
All right, man.
But Tony, for those that are starting out, man, I know you're doing it in Canada. I have a lot of followers that are also, on Instagram and TikTok and say, hey, can this be done in Canada? So for those that are in Canada, man, it seems like Canada and the process in the US is exactly, pretty similar. But what are some tips, dude? What are some tips that you can give to your Canadian people, man?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So just stay persistent and always keep looking for deals and just build relationships, man, with other investors as well, because you never know when they're going to offload a deal, right?
Yep.
So build relationships with investors. You get to try different marketing tactics, but once you find which ones work, dial down on them. One I can recommend for Canadians is go on Kijiji and just go to the real estate section and hit rent. And most of them are landlords anyway, if they're asking for someone to live there, and just email them or call them. And that's get free leads.
Nice. Now, Tony, also to share, share with people a couple of websites that you use in Canada to get your seller leads, and then how do you also get their phone number, man? Okay,
so it's hard to get people's phone numbers here in Canada. I don't really think there's like skip tracing and things like that. And you're a realtor, then kind of dial it. But for a while, I was just going on white pages and just calling numbers in neighborhoods that I liked. And then, like I said, the best way to collect phone numbers is definitely on Kijiji, and just go to the rent section and just start messaging everybody. Call them, whatever you got to do.
Gotcha, man. And what are some meetup or what are some sites in Canada for like local real estate investor meetup or Facebook group that you can recommend, dude?
Yeah, so if you're around the GTA area, there's a good Facebook group called the Greater Hamilton REI group, and they're very good. And then there's a bunch of groups over here. I'm sure if there's a couple of other Canadians watching, I'm sure they know about the Alpha Tribe. They give out some good information as well. Just guys like that. Lots of Facebook. Just go on Facebook and type in real estate groups near me, and I'm sure you'll find people.
Awesome, bro, dude. Hey, Tony, dude, I'm so glad that I'm able to get you on, man, because I don't get a lot of, I don't get a lot of Canadian, right? Come on here. I think you're like the second person, and I get so many. I got a lot of DM. I don't have a huge Canadian followers, right? But man, I do get DMs and message and say, Khang, is this possible in Canada? Who do you know that I can connect with? So Tony, how can they connect with you, man?
Yeah, so on Instagram, just follow me under Tony Gula, TonyGulla. And then you can follow me on Facebook, the same thing, Tony Gula. And then you can also follow me on Facebook under Fast Moving Homes. That's my brand name. And I just started a YouTube channel, Fast Moving Homes as well.
Nice. You have a TikTok, bro?
No, I don't have TikTok.
You should.
Yeah, I know. I should hop on there for sure.
You should, bro. So anyways, you guys, for those of you who's watching, I want you guys to understand, Tony, it took him once again a year. It's all about commitment and staying committed, persistent, and just keep on taking action each and every single day. Do what you can, start where you are, all right? And don't compare yourself with someone else. That's the worst. That's the worst. Don't compare where you are at with where someone else is at, okay? So remember that. Anyways, I hope this interview add a lot of value to you. You know, be sure to, if it does, smash that thumbs up for me. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. And Tony, I want to say thank you so much, bro, but we're going to wrap it up, man.
Awesome, Khang. Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem, bro. Take care, dude. Ciao, bro.
Okay, take it easy.